What is up, you guys? This is JP coming at you with another video, and today's video is about a particular accessory lift style that I don't like, and I think it's counterproductive to the goal that you're trying to achieve. An accessory lift is just a lift aimed to help a main lift. A main lift could be anything, but typically main lifts are things like the bench press, the deadlift, the squat, the overhead press, etc. So let's just say you're trying to get stronger at a deadlift. You will have accessory lifts outside of the regular deadlift that you do, that the goal is so that those accessory lifts can kind of maybe fill in holes or fix things that the deadlift itself is not fixing, so that when you do the deadlift, you can lift, more weight, get some PRs, you can get better at it. The one accessory lift that I tend to see are like pause repetitions. You may have even heard it called different things, but basically it's when people pause throughout the repetition, the range of motion, they pause a couple times as a form of technique work. And I'm gonna show you what it looks like right here. So this could be done with the squat or the bench press, and I'll show you that in a little bit too. But for the deadlift, you'll see people do accessory lifts like this. They'll start, and right around the mid shin, the top of their shin, they'll pause. Then they'll come up, finish, and then they'll go back down, they'll pause again, and then they'll drop. Now, this is used for a form of technique work. You can see in this clip right here that people do the same thing with the bench press, shown like so. They'll pause a couple times throughout the lift to, again, reinforce the technique. There's a problem with this though, because again, you have to remember the goal of an accessory lift is to benefit the main lift. Let's take the deadlift, for example. Every single lift that you do is going to have an easy part of the range of motion and a hard part of the range of motion. The hard part of the range of motion, aka is the sticking point. For anyone who does conventional deadlifts, if you lifted close here, 1 rep max, you'll realize that for 99.9999% of people, pretty much everyone, that the sticking point is right around the top of your shin or your mid shin. The sticking point is not a point in the lift where you want to decelerate the weight or stop the weight. You want to forcefully lift through this sticking point, because this is the hardest part. You want to generate momentum and as much power as you possibly can to get through this sticking point. Because again, if it's the hardest part, you want to go through it. When you pause, think about it. If you start moving something and you stop moving something, to stop moving it, you have to decelerate at some point. So in the main lifts, when you're doing your regular deadlifts, you want to lift fast on the concentric, and so you can get used to powering through the sticking point, just like this. On top of the rationale and the logic behind this, because again, it's very logical, there are studies that show this, that lifting fast and explosively on the concentric portion of the lift led to larger strength gains than when the people lift slower on the concentric portion of the lift. So logically and scientifically, it makes sense that you want to lift fast on the concentric. So think about it like this. You're doing an accessory lift that is teaching you and ingraining in you to pause at the hardest part of the lift. That's what it's doing. It's an accessory lift. It's meant to benefit or get you stronger on the main lift. But in this instance, this chopping up of the reps is forcing you to slow down at the hardest part of the lift. I personally believe, again, looking at the science and looking at the logic behind it, that this is building in bad patterns if your goal is to get stronger at the deadlift. Now, some of you may be saying, well, the point isn't to get stronger with this accessory lift, it's to get better technique. I agree, but you have to remember, technique, good technique, a good deadlift. If you see someone do a deadlift and you're like, oh, that guy had good technique on his regular deadlift, it wouldn't be a chopped up deadlift, it would be fast and concentric. So you want specificity to be as high as possible. So I have alternatives to this. It's 2 alternatives. The first one is the better alternative. The second one is okay. It still has some problems, but it's better than this one. The first one is do the same lift you normally do, lift fast on the concentric, just use lighter weights. It's as simple as that. You can use lighter weights or do different variations. You could do deadlifts off of, do like a rack pull or something, or deadlift off some blocks. At regular speeds though, you don't want to chop up the repetition. So But again, the first option will be do the deadlift or whatever exercise you're trying, your accessory lift, just do lighter weights. So this is too light for me. You know, my deadlift is like close to 500, but I would be doing a lighter version. You still want to lift fast, because think about it, if it's light and you're lifting fast, you can still keep good form. This weight right here is so easy that even if I lift fast, I can have really good form. You know, grab the bar, chest up. That's not hard for me to have good form and good technique, even though I'm lifting fast. So again, that's a good alternative to chopping up the repetitions. I would much prefer that. Higher specificity. It's a lightweight, so you can ensure you have a straight back, good form. It's just better overall carryover than chopping up the repetitions. The second one, which I don't like as much, but it's good for beginners, and it's good if you just don't like doing the repetition fast and it's not working, is to go slow on the concentric. Now, this isn't the best way to make strength gains, but I still think it's better than pausing and chopping up the repetition, because you're still at least moving the bar. You're moving through the sticking point. So again, it would just be a slow repetition like this. So that would be my second option. Again, not as good as the first option, but better than the chopped up repetitions. You have to remember the key points of all of this. Accessories are meant to benefit the main lifts, one. So the further you get away from the main lifts, the lower the specificity and the lower the carryover. That is the main thing here. And two, you have to remember of sticking points. Again, you have to remember what the purpose of what your main lift looks like. A main lift, you're lifting fast in the concentric portion, a controlled eccentric for the most part. Deadlift, some people just drop the weights a little lower really fast. That's besides the point. But again, you just want to make sure that you have to look at the accessory lift and say, what's the point? And I think that when you do these pause style repetitions like this, I really think that it's going to be ingraining just bad habits. It's not teaching you to do the right things, and I really don't see a point in that, because there are better ways you can learn technique. Again, doing lighter weight, but with the same tempo as your heavier weights, or just going slower. Again, that's better than chopping up the reps. I don't see the point in that. You're teaching yourself to slow down right at the point of the repetition, where on the main lifts you need to be going fast. There's much better ways to kind of get better technique than doing these kind of chopped up pause reps. So if you guys have any questions, comments, leave them down below. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.